What if the most dangerous person in your life right now is someone you trust completely? Not a stranger, not someone who gave you a bad feeling, someone you handed your child to, someone you built a life with, someone who smiled at you this morning. Every case you are about to hear is real, and in every single one, the victim trusted the killer. One victim warned his own family, 3 weeks before he died, that he believed his wife was trying to poison him. He named her, he was afraid of her, and then he went home to her anyway. 3 weeks later, he was dead, and she was on television, smiling. 8 women, 8 betrayals. None of the victims saw it coming. And after tonight, neither will you look at the people around you the same way. Let's begin. Some killers run, some killers hide. Corey Richins went on television. Eric Richins was 39 years old, a stonemason, a father of 3. By every account, hardworking, family-oriented, completely unaware that the woman sleeping beside him had been quietly studying how to end his life. March 4th, 2022, Thomas, Utah. At 3:23 in the morning, paramedics received a call from Corey. She said her husband was cold to the touch. They performed CPR for as long as they could. Eric Richins was already gone. Corey wept. She grieved publicly. And then she did something nobody in that investigation could prepare for. She wrote a children's book called She Went on Local Television. She smiled for cameras. She gave interviews about what it means to lose someone you love, while detectives were quietly running toxicology results in the background. Those results changed everything. Eric Richins did not die in his sleep. He had approximately 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. It had not been injected. It had been slipped into a cocktail. But here is where this case becomes something else entirely, because that was not her first attempt. 3 weeks earlier, on Valentine's Day, Eric became violently ill after eating a sandwich Corey made for him. He survived, and he did something remarkable. He called his sisters. He told them directly. He believed Corey had tried to poison him. He named her. He said he was afraid of her. And yet, he went back home. He trusted her enough to drink something she handed him. Most of us would have done the same. That is what makes this terrifying. She had acquired the fentanyl through a former housekeeper. She didn't ask for it by name. She asked for the Michael Jackson stuff. Her search history confirmed the rest. She had searched for luxury prisons for the wealthy. She had searched whether the FBI could recover deleted messages. Neither of those are things an innocent grieving widow searches for. Then came the money. Corey had secretly altered Eric's life insurance policies without his knowledge. She stood to collect $2 million. At the same time, she was drowning in over $2 million in personal debt. The motive was sitting in a filing cabinet. She had put it there herself, but investigators say the detail that still lingers over this case has nothing to do with the toxicology, nothing to do with the insurance policy. It is the image of Corey Richins sitting under studio lights, smiling into a camera, talking about grief, while Eric's family was still burying him. She sold a bedtime story about loss to grieving children. While she was the reason, there was grief to begin with. After her arrest, a 6-page handwritten letter was found inside her jail cell. She had anticipated being caught. She had planned for it. She wrote it down. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty, first-degree murder, attempted murder, insurance fraud, forgery. She went on television while her husband's family buried him, and she almost got away with it. Now let's move to case number 2, Jennifer Johnson case. Before detectives even knew how Hannah died, one question made them stop cold. It wasn't asked by a witness. It wasn't asked by a neighbor. It was asked by the woman who was supposed to be keeping her safe. Hannah Kent was 8 months old. On the evening of April 18th, 2021, in Columbia, Missouri, Lynetta left Hannah with Jennifer Johnson, a 49-year-old woman she had known for over a decade, a trusted friend. It was the first time Johnson had ever cared for Hannah, It was the last night Hannah was alive. Hannah's 13-year-old sister saw the baby at 6 p.m. Alive. Normal. Fine. At 8:30 the following morning, Lynetta came home. She found her daughter bruised, cold, unresponsive. She grabbed Hannah and ran for the door. As she left, Jennifer Johnson called after her. One question: will I still be paid? Hannah was pronounced dead at 8:45 a.m. Multiple skull contusions, spinal nerve damage, brain hemorrhaging, skull fractures, a fracture to the left orbital plate. Blood on Johnson's shirt matched Hannah's DNA. She was the only person with access to that baby. During the window those injuries occurred, nothing about that evening looked dangerous from the outside. Lynetta had known this woman for 10 years. That is what makes it unbearable. The defense called 0 witnesses. Johnson did not take the stand. The jury deliberated for just over 1 hour. Guilty, second-degree felony murder. 2 counts of child endangerment. February 23rd, 2026. Jennifer Johnson sentenced to life in prison. At sentencing, Lynetta Hill addressed the court. She said she replays the moment she handed her daughter to someone she believed was her friend every single day. She said the guilt never leaves. Johnson's daughter-in-law publicly insisted Johnson would show no remorse for something she did not do. Lynetta Hill has to live with that statement. And with this one, will I still be paid? That was the only question. While a baby took her last breaths in the next room, that was the only thing on her mind. While a baby took her last breaths in the next room, that was the only thing on her mind. Now let's focus on next case, Latia Daniels' case. The woman about to commit murder had spent years teaching people exactly how to stop themselves from doing what she was about to do. That detail is not ironic. It is the entire story. Latia Daniels was a licensed clinical social worker, a certified anger management specialist. She ran her own practice. She sat across from people, drowning in rage and grief and impulse, and she taught them how to breathe, how to pause, how to make a better decision before it destroyed their lives. She was the expert in the room every single time. On the afternoon of April 4th, 2019, she received a short message through a disappearing app. The message was final. He told her their time was up. Here is what a trained anger management specialist, by her own professional standards, should have done next. Called a crisis line, reached out to a colleague, used any one of the professional resources she had spent her career directing other people toward. Instead, she drove to a gun store. She purchased a 9mm Ruger pistol, and she drove 3 hours to Memphis. Nothing about that room felt dangerous. That is exactly the point. When the visit ended, and they moved toward the front door, Perry refused to walk Daniels to her car. Tabitha turned on the stairway. She saw Daniels raise the gun. 5 bullets, 3 abdominal wounds, 1 to the head, 1 to the buttock. And what Daniels reportedly shouted as she fired, "You broke my heart." That was her explanation. He broke her heart. Guilty. Second-degree murder. 20 years. The judge's words at sentencing deserve to be heard clearly. A broken heart does not justify someone dying. Daniels charged people money to learn that lesson. She taught it professionally for years, and in one afternoon proved she had never believed a word of it herself. Now our next case is Rebecca Auburn case. 4 men, 6 months, 1 woman, and a daughter who was turned away by authorities twice, while the body count kept rising. Columbus, Ohio, 2023. Her method was simple, deliberate, repeatable. She met men. She drugged them with fentanyl. She robbed them while they were unconscious or already dead. Joseph Crumpler, 30 years old, dead, January 15th. Robert Snoke, 54, dead, April 1st. Wayne Aiken, 64, found dead on his own birthday. Guy Renda Jr., 42, dead June 17th. 4 men, same cause of death, same method, same woman. Wayne Aiken's daughter, Kristen Crockett, knew from the beginning something was wrong. She went to Columbus police. A non-emergency operator told her directly. Her father's death was not suspicious. She did not stop. They turned her away again. By the time police finally listened, another man was already dead. She mixed fentanyl directly into a man's crack pipe. Then she watched him overdose. She did not call for help. She took his car. She took his debit card. She left. 4 men died inside a 6-month window. Same city, same cause of death, same circumstances. At what point does a pattern become visible? At what point does a daughter reporting the same concerns twice get taken seriously? February 19th, 2026. Rebecca Auburn sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms. Not eligible for parole for 60 years. At sentencing, Kristen Crockett stood and spoke directly to Auburn. She said her father would never have hurt her, that he was kind, that he was giving, that he was loving. And then she said something that stopped the entire courtroom. She said she could not bring herself to hate Rebecca Auburn. And she never would. Investigators believe there may be additional victims beyond the 4 confirmed cases. A daughter who refused to stop is the only reason Rebecca Auburn is not still out there. The system failed 4 times. 1 woman refused too. Now let's move to our 5th and last case, Polly Murphy crime case. When paramedics entered that hotel room, there was blood on the walls, blood on the floor, blood on the ceiling. The woman responsible had waited 18 hours before calling for help. James Self was 47 years old, a painter, gentle, easygoing, a man who always believed in the good in people. That belief, in the end, is what killed him. November 8th, 2023, Clacton-on-Sea, England. James had planned everything carefully. A hotel on the Essex coast, a birthday present, a surprise for the woman he loved. He never left that room on his own 2 feet. She punched him. She kicked him. She stamped across his entire body. And then she left the room. She bought alcohol. She sent text messages to a former boyfriend. She sent him music on Spotify. On the other side of that door, a man who loved her was dying. 18 hours passed before she called an ambulance. When paramedics arrived, James Self spoke for himself. He told them directly, "No, she has been hitting me. It was one-sided. I did not retaliate." Lying there with 8 fractured ribs and a failing liver, he was still precise, still honest, still protecting no one but the truth. December 21st, 2023. James Self died in hospital. His mother was holding him when he went. Weeks before he died, from his hospital bed, James sent a text message to his mother. He said he wanted to fix things. He wanted to make sure she was okay. He was talking about Murphy. With 8 broken ribs, with a body that was failing, he was still thinking about her. James Self died, still trying to save the woman who left him there to die. 5 cases, 5 people who trusted the wrong person completely. Eric drank a cocktail his wife handed him. Lynetta left her daughter with a friend she had known for 10 years. Tabitha thought it was a pastoral visit. 4 men met a woman. James bought a birthday present. Normal moments, every single one. Every case tonight had a warning sign, a moment, a complaint, a suspicion, something that didn't sit right. And every time, somebody looked away. Trust the people who deserve it. Question the silence. And pay attention, because the warning signs are almost always there. Most people just don't recognize them until it is already too late.